started realizing, oh, I want to do this for all my costumes when I started hand making costumes, which is still kind of like a fully new thing for me. And that is the fact I need to cover everything in fake flowers. And like, I'm hand making a costume, I'm like, it looks plain, I'm gonna cover it in fake flowers. The issue is that's gonna add like 10 pounds of weight to any costume I'm sewing. So if I survive, and it will, ooh. Sing to me, Calliope, muse of epic poetry, of the books, and the panels we flip through. Sing of the writing on the pages, and the decisions that lead to our own universe. Welcome to FanDive. My name is Chaos.
And my name is Red.
And today we brought in a special guest because it's comic book day. We're talking about comic books.
And what especially are we talking about comic books today, Chaos?
Well, we might have to be pre-recording this because I'm going to Comic-Con and I'm panic con-crunching and I actively have a giant sewing project piled in front of me that's acting as like a mic buffer. We're talking about comics because I like comics. It's just a general like, hey, what are comic books? They're books.
They are books. Good job. Comic books are books. Who knew?
They're books. They're books. Actually, I think that's one of the terminologies that confused me when I was first getting into comic books, is people would refer to as, yes, this is my favorite book. And they would use that term to refer to like a whole story. It would be a binding of several issues. And that would be it. This is my favorite book, not my favorite comic book.
Technically, that would be classified as a graphic novel, which you could then classify as a book, because that is a whole book held together.
I'm fairly new to the comic book space as a whole. I really only started getting into comic books in the last few years. Like I've read a few issues here and there, but nothing's like ever grabbed me as like, this is what I want to read. And then suddenly I found something and I'm like, and I'm never free ever again.
Yeah, unlike me, who I've been connected with comic books since I was a wee little one.
Okay, but what was your first, like, I don't say your first introduction, but the first thing you really remember about enjoying about comics?
I really got into the heroes and the stories before I got into the reading part. So, like, I have memories of watching Teen Titans when I was a kid. And I have memories of watching the Justice League cartoons. And I have memories of watching the old Batman 1966 show, which is as campy as it gets. And truly what got me into reading them was also YouTubers.
Yeah, to me, the YouTubers got me into like anime and manga. It's like I never really found like, oh yeah, this is the comic book YouTuber I want to follow. It's like, no, people reviewing manga week by week were where I ended up.
The first ones I would watch was basically he would break down who this character is, what his powers are, what it breaks down from there. And actually, I ended up interviewing him several years ago. I think it's going on 9 years. So that's an accomplishment of mine. His name is Comic Drake. I enjoyed his stuff back in the day. Comic Historian's also another big one, because Comic Historian goes over the whole storyline, but breaks it down that way. If you want to read it, you can, but you get the base just in the YouTube videos as well.
For me, it was like I enjoyed watching like, oh yeah, Teen Titans, but I never got into any of the extended DC universe of cartoons they had back in, was I too young? I might have been like a year out of their target audience and just never ended up watching a lot of that stuff. But Teen Titans was definitely my first proper introduction to DC. And then, the Marvel everything happened, and that was the rest of my roughly childhood, I guess.
Can recommend a few things, knowing from what I've known about you. There's a few shows I would recommend to you.
Everyone's like the Batman animated series, Batman Beyond, Batman. Like, I get it. There's a lot of good Batman. I feel like I wouldn't super vibe with Young Justice, though.
Oh, that was actually my recommendation.
Really?
Oh, the episode that comes to mind that I think you would enjoy more than anything else has Shazam as the main character of the episode.
Okay, well, I've seen that. Trust me. I am the Shazam fan, and I have seen all the clips included Shazam, and that amounts to 3 whole minutes of footage.
Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but okay. Then also, if you like the goofier take on the DC universe, if you want something goofy, go Batman the Brave and the Bold route. Honestly, a lot of Batman the Brave and the Bold is complemented by all the 70s and all the different older golden age or silver age. I think it's silver age, different references.
If it has
So
Shazam included in the DC, it will be Silver Age, because Golden Age was back when Shazam was owned by Fawcett, which I'm still desperately attempting to track down a Fawcett era comic, and it doesn't seem to exist.
no, you're absolutely right, because there was a time where basically DC bought lots of comics, incorporated into them. Actually, there was even a lawsuit went on because Superman and Captain Marvel were
Oh
so similar,
goodness,
and
do
they're
you
like,
want to
well,
hear about
no.
that lawsuit? I got the tea on that lawsuit.
I have no issue going down the lawsuit, but I feel like we're going to miss something, and that's not what this podcast is about.
But we're talking about whatever we want. So Shazam, one of my favorite absolute all-time superheroes, he came out after Superman, but a lot of what we consider modern day Superman was not included in the early comics. And so when Shazam started getting popular and quite frankly was selling more books than Superman, DC got mad. Because DC was like, that guy has all of Superman's powers. It's a copyright issue. Kill him. And
But in reality, it wasn't, because you could have some more powers and have more different stories.
what's fascinating is that Shazam had a lot of those powers first. Technically speaking, like, Superman could not fly for a number of decades, and Shazam showed up flying around. And they were trying to make all these comparisons of look at the same things that are identical between Shazam and Superman. And almost every single issue, they were like, Shazam did this first, or every other superhero also does this. There was no legs for this lawsuit to stand on. But because Fawcett was outside of Shazam, not a big publishing company, ultimately that lawsuit bankrupted them, and DC bought all their characters and really only still used the Shazam characters, and that's it.
Do you know why Superman can fly?
He could leap tall buildings, and then they're like, wow, this sucks to animate. We're just gonna make him flying. Kryptonite actually originally featured in, what was it? Was it a radio show or something?
Radio shows?
Yeah. Radio shows used to be an incredibly popular way to tell superhero stories, and ultimately it sort of just became the default way to introduce new things. Like the comic books were taking from an adaptation like they do now with the movies. It's like, how did this get introduced? Well, radio.
Another thing I find really interesting is people go, retcons are dumb. Without retcons, your favorite characters would not be the way they are.
Retcons are inherently essential to the way comic books work as a medium, but bad retcons are awful. You really need to do them correctly. I think, I never actually read this issue, so I only know it secondhand. There was a point in time where DC was doing runs of like Wonder Woman when she was a kid. So it'd be like Wonder Teen or Wonder Tot or whatever. And then at some point someone saw this and went, oh, this is a really cool like Wonder Woman sidekick character, Wonder Woman who's a teenager. Let's add this to the teenage team. And they had to retcon it and say, no, this was a different character all along, but they put it into the story and had Robin like do detective work. And it was a really interesting way to make the characters feel like more of themselves.
Donna Troy is one of the most confusing DC characters because half the time DC doesn't know what they're doing.
Because she's just Wonder Woman as a teenager who got retconned into existence.
Comics are weird. They are, but they're the best kind of weird. I enjoy them kind of weird. But at the same point, if you don't enjoy, oh, hey, this is going to change in a couple of years. Oh, no, I like mine the way it is. Well, listen, it's going to change. This is going to change. If you
are the kind of person who really loves, this is the continuity, this is the media, this is the canon, such and such and such and such, you're not going to like comics. But if you love fan fiction, and if you love reading AUs, and if you love reading things that are changing and flowing and passing different hands, then you're going to love comic books.
I absolutely agree with that. I feel like there is an expectation of, hey, this is what I want to read. Like, if I want to read a Batman comic, and I'm reading a Batman fan fiction, and suddenly Danny Phantom shows up, I didn't sign up for Danny Phantom.
I mean, I'm always here for Danny Phantom. But yeah, it's this idea of, like, how much are you willing to give into this world? And also the conversation of you need to find what you want too, because a Batman comic book is going to be entirely different than a Shazam comic book. Those are completely separate vibes, even though they're by the same company and exist in the same world.
Is what kind of character are you really looking for? If you're looking for someone that instills hope no matter where he goes. Congratulations, you want Superman. And everyone goes, oh, he's overpowered. That's not the point.
He's a
The point
paragon
is
like
not
that.
I have
That's
all these powers.
oh my god, did you see the new Superman movie? It
I
is
love the
everything
new Superman movie.
that is it's the new Superman movie is so good because it takes that essence of a character of yeah, he's overpowered. Yeah, he can do everything with a flick, but he doesn't because he needs to care. Like that's the point.
There are two sides of the same coin, Superman and Batman. Because you have the side that instills hope. Well, listen, Batman instills hope into people that he saves. He instills fear into the criminals.
What I think people often forget about the Batman character, and keep in mind, like I'm still relatively new to comics, but like to me, everyone's always complaining about oh Batman should kill, Batman should get rid of all these criminals. You're putting them in an insane asylum instead of prison. They're gonna escape all the time. That's always the art. That's always the trope people go back to in like the Batman stories. It's like oh there's another Arkham breakout. The point is not that you need to lock them away forever. The point is that Batman's criminals are people who are suffering due to whatever system or circumstances put them in the place, and he wants to get them help. He doesn't want to be doing what he's doing, but he rather get them help than put them in prison. Like with the exception of the Joker, who will never truly deal with society well. We have characters who have gone through the arc. We have Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy who have fully moved into borderline heroes nowadays because they've managed to get through the system. And to me, it's like when people get mad about why don't these superheroes kill, not just Batman, but like we also have this conversation with a lot of Marvel characters and other like minor characters who are probably more lighthearted, but they often deal with storylines that impact them. It's like, why don't you just kill him and get the problem over with? It's because that's giving up. For a lot of characters, they're written in such a way of like you have to keep trying. You have to prove your point because just killing them isn't proving the point of the story. You're missing the plot.
You're missing the point of these characters. Hey, why is Killer Croc the way he is? In majority of continuities, it's not his fault. He was born with a genetic issue. Okay, so he should just give up because of his genetic issue? No, he applied, he was denied because of something he couldn't control, went to crime to be able to survive.
We're running around the conversation of comic books are dealing with an issue more than just, yes, cool guy in cape punches bad guy. Because ultimately art kind of reflects the world. I mean, that's kind of inherent to art. And it's like, what is the issue this art is talking about? What is the issue that we're dealing with in this conversation? And sure, some of the more lighthearted stuff is going to be childhood escapism, whatever. But there's also the conversation of how did Killer Croc end up the way he is? It's because he has a skin disorder called crocodile skin, which real people have. And yes, it's taken to an extreme, but that's something people deal with all the time. Like I have family members who refuse to wear short sleeves because the way their skin looks.
It is one of those cases where you're literally looking at it and people go, oh, it's just a silly comic book for kids. No, respectfully,
No, it's not.
comic books are not for kids.
It's more than that.
No, but comics are so cool and they're so unique. And the art style you're not going to find anywhere else. And it just breaks down and people just go, oh, look. Now, I will even say that there's also a discussion to be made about the fact that the companies that make the movies do not do good at saying, come buy our stuff.
Apparently the Superman movie was the first time that like a superhero movie has impacted the sales of comic books. Like every other time they've so far, like as much as people have been tracking this, have released this is the new Avengers movie, this is the new Iron Man movie. It's like that hasn't impacted the sales of comic books. People who are fans of the movies enjoy the movies and then they don't feel the need to go read more about that character. But the Superman movie made people want to be invested in that character and not just the storylines that he presents.
Do you want to hear a funny one?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what my favorite sales that the new Superman movie affected?
Oh, dogs, right?
Dogs, adopted dogs. It jetted up the amount of adopted dogs
And I freaking love that so much because the director is like, he got this dog and it's an absolute menace of a dog. It destroys everything. And that was the inspiration for the super dog, right? And he didn't calm it
Yes.
down. He didn't make it, oh, this is the perfect dog. This is another Superman, a paragon of hope and goodness. It's like, no, bad dogs are still important and are worth protecting. Oh, before we move on to the Q&A, I do have to stop and talk about Shazam because I actually got into Shazam comics due to the movie. And now that I look back at the movie, I'm like, oh, that shouldn't have happened
Yeah,
because
no,
um
no,
the first Shazam
yeah,
movie
no.
understands so little about the characters. And it's just like how I think it's because I didn't actually sit down and watch it. It was on TV in like my grandparents' house when I was over trying to like take care of them for a period of time. They would like always have the TV on and they just randomly had the Shazam movie on one day. And I like caught it in just enough bits and pieces that I got interested and invested, but I didn't have a way to watch the movie, so I just started picking up comic books.
And the funny thing is, and that's what I think, that interpretation, and why I think, I think that what you're basing it off of is important. What you're basing it off of needs to be realistic to the comic book. Because if you go from the movie to a comic book and you're completely lost, then you failed as a movie to represent what your comic representation. But you failed to represent what your comics is about. You asked a question at the beginning of this podcast about how do people start reading comics. Literally, just go get it.
Just go
Go
get it.
find your favorite character. I don't care if it's literally, oh, hey, look, this Robin character looks neat. Oh, it's 22 out of 25. I don't care. Go pick it up.
Grab it.
Literally
So
just start.
so many
Because as
comic
soon as you
book
start
shops
reading,
have bins and bins and bins of $1 comics. Grab them. Just grab them. And yeah, they have like the new up-to-date issues. If this came out this week, you can get that too if the cover speaks to you. Like I grabbed one where Damian Robin got turned into a cat and the cover looked like that meme of a cat being yelled at over a salad. And I got that. And I didn't understand what was going on, but it was funny.
I got started through Comic Story. I got started before that, but he really helped me. He passed away 2 years ago now, or last year, or one of the ones. I still think he's influential to a lot of people because it's a case of he is telling you a complete story. This is not saying that YouTube is a replacement for comic books and buying it from the companies. However, if you can't afford to do it, you can't afford to do it.
Yeah, I adore 1970s specific Shazam. Like I honestly haven't liked the newer runs of Shazam. I haven't liked New 52 and the new like what is it called? Dawn of DC. It hasn't really felt the same because I've been so much into these vintage comics. However, I sometimes go try to find these comics and they're like $60 and I'm like that's cute. No, thank you. I'm like you got to know what it's worth to you.
Yeah, $60 is not worth 16 pieces of paper to me.
Oh, there was this one, I think it was what was it? The Fawcett era publication because it was the name of the book was Captain Marvel Jr. So it was pre-DC acquisition and it was just a single issue of Captain Marvel Jr. and it was going for $180 and it was slapped in plastic so you wouldn't even be able to read it. And I'm like, that's not worth it. Like it's beautiful and it's rare and it's antique. It's not worth it. All right.
But anyways, you said Q&A time?
Yeah, I think it's time for the Q&A. Now, normally I would have like Endy make a little musical transition noise, but I don't have Endy here, so I'm just gonna shake my dice jar for that. Question number 1. We talked a lot about comic books this episode. I want to know manga. Have you have any exposure to anime or manga, and if so, what's your favorite?
So I am very particular, very, very. I think in total I've seen 6 animes. Not a big amount, not enough to go. Like I really enjoy My Hero Academia, but I'm not up to snuff with it, and I haven't been keeping up with it. But I enjoy the lore enough to go, oh yes, that's what that's from. I understand.
So the main anime that you like is the one based off of comic books. Okay.
All the animes I like have to do with my other special interests and my other interests. That's how I got into this anime. Like literally, Sword Art Online, which I think is awful, but I was one of the animes I watched, is based off video games. There's another one based off, hey, what if this person got sent and could control his life with games? What if,
Is that No Game No Life?
so like, it is No Game No Life. I literally have to be in the right mood and the right mindset to watch it, and I'm like, and it literally I'll watch through a half an episode, just go, I'm not in the mood, and turn it off.
Yeah, I feel like that's just me with TV shows in general. It's like I haven't found a good TV show that's like gripped my attention recently. That hasn't been like a cooking competition or a baking show or whatever. Oh, the two animes that you mentioned, Sword Art Online and No Game No Life, those are both technically under what's called the isekai category, which is where like someone loosely from our world gets sucked into another world. And here's the thing, isekais are either absolutely amazing or absolutely garbage, and there's no in between, with I think maybe one exception of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Now, here's the deal. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, it's kind of one of those shows where it's like, this isn't good, but I can't stop watching. Like,
I honestly, that's one of the ones I've started watching, and I just need to go back to it. And I'm just like, I'm not in the mood yet.
yeah,
I want to pick up my delicious.
Delicious in Dungeon.
What is it? My Delicious Dungeon?
Delicious in Dungeon is absolutely amazing. It's not isekai. It's just full on like D&D fantasy, and like it's so good. I love Delicious in Dungeon.
All right, so I'll watch it next week, and we'll have a podcast next week. Recap. Understood.
If I survive Comic-Con, that is.
This is not your first Comic-Con, ever.
Oh no, I've been going to conventions since I was like 14.
Yeah, so you'll be fine. You'll survive.
I'll be fine.
Just make sure you take a walking aid with you.
So here's the issue. I've recently discovered that I have a cosplay style that I only started realizing, I want to do this for all my costumes when I started hand making costumes, which is still kind of like a fully new thing for me. And that is the fact I need to cover everything in fake flowers. And like, I'm hand making a costume. I'm like, it looks plain. I'm going to cover it in fake flowers. The issue is that's going to add like 10 pounds of weight to any costume I'm sewing. So if I survive, and it will. Question number 2. This is from that Biblog and wants to know if we have seen the Digital Circus show.
No.
Here, I haven't either, but I have seen all the trailers for. Have you seen the trailers for the new stuff? Like Knights of Guinevere? It looks amazing.
So since that answers question number 2, no. What is question number 3?
Question number 3, I didn't write down 3 questions. Well, I did, but one of them was like, what's your TV show that you recommend? And that's a question from Mitt. And I feel like we've spent the whole episode just talking about TV shows that we recommend.
I was going to say, comic book shows I recommend, there's a list of them. It all depends on what you want to watch, though. That's my issue with recommendations, is I don't know you personally enough to give you recommendations. If you want something goofy, Batman Brave and the Bold. If you want something neo-punk, that's Batman Beyond. If you don't want Batman, and you just want other characters, there's other shows to watch. If you want something goofy from the 80s or 90s, there's Super Friends. They weren't legally allowed to use a couple characters, so they had made up a few.
Yeah, for animes, there's this cute one on Netflix. I think it's called like Kaito Lives Alone, and it's about like this preschooler whose family is no longer in his life, so he gets his own apartment, and his neighbors are like, well, I guess we're parents now.
It reminded me of an anime I recently watched within the year.
Okay.
It is called Go-Go Loser Ranger.
Interesting. Continue.
Okay, so basically this anime is about what if Power Rangers were evil. Hold on. And the main character is one of the putties, and is trying to work on becoming the heroes to overrule them, to basically tell everyone in the world, hey, these are not real heroes.
Oh, goodness. Have you read any of the Power Rangers comics? Those are insane.
And the new one that's coming out, I've been told good things about. I have not read it, but I've been told good things about. The old one with Shattered Grid, I've been told, is really good. I don't think I've been told a single bad thing about any of the Power Ranger comics coming in the last 10 years.
Listen, if you're the type of person who would buy a Power Ranger comic, you're going to love Power Ranger comics. I think that's just how it goes.
Totally. But anywho,
we've definitely run over time. So is it time to say farewell?
Oh, there's a time?
Well, no. I mean, yeah.
I don't.
It's a emotional time of going like, we should probably wrap this up so I don't have to spend the next day and a half editing. But also, I'm like, we don't have to stop.
Hey, listen, you understand I'll be a guest anytime you want me to be.
And I appreciate that, especially Panic last minute. Thank you so much for showing up when I was like, hey, can you do this like tomorrow?
Dude, not even a problem. Dude, not even a problem. I actually, you missed the conversation I had with my wife and my friends. I was like, dude, I got invited to the podcast and this more comics, and I'm really excited. They're like, yeah, we're excited too.
It's comic books. Huzzah. When you get to talk about something you're passionate about, you want to keep talking. That's kind of the point of the podcast. So thank you very much.
Farewell again.
Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of FanDive. We'll be back again next Monday diving into yet another fandom. Have a topic or question for the podcast? Head over to our website, fandive.tumblr.com. There you can also find any episode relevant images and general shenanigans that we get up to. It is Tumblr after all. We're not afraid of being fans of things.